This is Ramalinga Prasad Kuppa. Welcome to my channel, Pharma World. Today's topic is analytical method validation with a focus on statistical evaluation of the data. Data evaluation is a critical aspect of analytical method validation. In this short video, we will focus on various statistical tools that are necessary to establish the validated status of the analytical method and suitability for routine use. Details of USP Chapter 1225 are not discussed here for the validation parameters. It is limited to statistical evaluation of data. Let us understand the intent of each statistical tool for data evaluation. It is a documented evidence to establish that the analytical method selected for evaluation is suitable for the intended purpose. What is documented evidence? It is the objective evidence for all the raw data, sample preparation details, standard preparation details, chromatograms, spectra, all calculations and formula, etc. All the objective evidences have to be annexed appropriately for easy reference. The validation document should be well designed and drafted to incorporate all parameters of the method validation as prescribed in USP 1225. For analytical method validation, the intent of USP 1225 should be understood fully. Of course, the other two chapters, USP 1224 and 1226, are also important to make the understanding comprehensively. Detailed evaluation and conclusions on the suitability for routine use make the report comprehensive and complete. The purpose of the evaluation is to establish the suitability. The conclusion is the confirmation stamp that the method is valid for routine use. However, it is necessary to review the validation report for any modifications or updates in the analytical method. Obviously, if there are any changes to test method or specifications over a period of time, it is necessary to evaluate the continued suitability of the method. If not, it may have to be revalidated. The analytical method should be followed meticulously with intricate points as prescribed in the monograph. So, it is necessary to understand the test method and its requirements fully. The method has to be carried out exactly as prescribed in the monograph. The text in compendial methods prescribed in the pharmacopoeias are not really user-friendly. It is only prescriptive. The content has to be captured as an approved test method with exact actions to be carried out on the benchtop. For more important information on how to read and understand the pharmacopoeia, refer another video of my channel titled How to Read and Understand Pharmacopoeia. System suitability parameters include the following. Every monograph has requirements to meet system suitability parameters. They include, but not limited to, the following: theoretical plates, tailing factor, resolution factor, signal to noise ratio, etc. should be addressed as prescribed in the individual monograph. It is necessary to record all the raw data for evaluation. Now let us focus on data compilation. tabulate the data in Excel sheet. The best way to record the data is on Excel spreadsheet. Excel spreadsheet is an excellent tool for data evaluation statistically. Make provision at the end of each data for average, standard deviation, and percent relative standard deviation, which is also called percent RSD. Jot down the data nicely with titles like serial number, peak identity, area counts, etc. You may add more columns and rows depending upon the data that is going to be evaluated. You have to record the numerical values for evaluation. At the end, make provision for these items which are very useful for evaluation. Make a provision for 95% confidence interval CI also. This evaluation provides reliability of estimation of system precision. Confidence interval also should be available for evaluation. Let us understand more in coming up slides. Basic statistical tools for evaluating the consistency of the data to establish the suitability for routine use. There are so many statistical tools for evaluation of various types of data. For analytical method validations, there are few important tools. The few important tools that are required are mean, standard deviation, percent relative standard deviation, confidence intervals, and student's t-test. Let us understand each item separately. Mean is average of the entire set of data. Mean is calculated by summing up of all the data individually and divide by the number of data points. Mean is the average of set of data. It is a simple mathematical calculation. Add up individual data and divide by the total number of data points. This is generally represented as x bar, a small line above the letter x. It is important to use common terminology for certain tools for quick and easy understanding. For summation, the symbol used is sigma. It looks like the letter M rotated on the left side and made it stand on the left side stroke of the letter like this. Standard deviation is a numerical measure on the variation around the mean value. This is an indirect measure of process consistency. So standard deviation is a measure of consistency in the process. This will indicate how much closer the data to the mean. That means if the standard deviation is less, the data is closer to the average or mean value. If it is more, it should be understood that the data spread is away from the mean value. So obviously, lower the standard deviation, better the control over the process. This is indicated by the letter S or sigma like this. Percent relative standard deviation is another way of expression as percent on average value. Relative standard deviation or percent RSD is another way of expressing the standard deviation. It is expressed as a percentage against the average. That means it indicates how much percentage deviation from the average. This is calculated by simple mathematical formula, standard deviation multiplied by 100 and further divided by the average value of the data set. Confidence interval. It is a measure of specified probability like 90% or 95% that the value will be within the interval. So the CI population mu, the mean, is calculated by this formula. Confidential interval CI is level of confidence that is claimed as percentage of confidence to disperse the data around. For example, if it is claimed as 95% CI, it is an evaluation that 95% times the value will be within the prescribed limit. The calculation is as given: x bar plus or minus z multiplied by s. The standard deviation is divided by square root of number of data points. For all these calculations, do not break your head unnecessarily. Your Excel spreadsheet has all these options for calculations. You have to practice for sometimes for good hands-on experience. But for fun, you can try out a couple of examples manually to check whether or not the calculation was correct. It is really fun. Let us see the requirements for compliance. US Pharmacopoeia Chapter 621 says, replicate injections of a standard preparation or other solutions are compared to ascertain whether requirements for precision are met. Unless otherwise specified in the individual monograph, data from 5 replicate injections of the analyte are used to calculate the relative standard deviation, that is percent RSD, if the requirement is 2% or less. Data from 6 replicate injections are used if the relative standard deviation requirement is more than 2%. There is a requirement to confirm the precision of the data by means of relative standard deviation as per chapter 621 of USP. It is very much necessary to read this chapter several times, line by line, understand the content and intent of the requirement. Many monographs have limit for percent RSD for precision measurement. You have to inject the prescribed number of injections and calculate the percent RSD. It should be within the specifications. There are several monographs for which there is no specific number of injections. In such cases, you have to comply to this requirement to inject 5 times and collect the data for evaluating the percent RSD less than 2% and 6 injections if the percent RSD is more than 2%. For the assay in a drug substance monograph, where the value is 100% for the pure substance and no maximum relative standard deviation is stated, the maximum permitted percent RSD is calculated for a series of injections of the reference solution. The formula is like this: percentage RSD is equal to K multiplied by B multiplied by root N divided by T90 at n-1 freedom, where K is a constant which is 0.349 obtained from the expression K is equal to 0.6 by square root of 2 and T90 5 by square root of 6, in which 0.6 divided by square root of 2 represents the required percentage relative standard deviation after 6 injections for B is equal to 1. This is another important point to note. For assay with a value of around 100% and there is no mention of the maximum percent RSD, the RSD is calculated by student's t-test. This tool is used when limited data is available. Maximum permitted percent RSD is calculated by this equation: K multiplied by B multiplied by root n divided by the T90 at n-1 degrees of freedom. Here n is the number of data points. Don't take seriously how the value of 0.349 is assigned to k and how the formula is derived. Take help of examples from internet. Some information is required for the parameter b. Let us see. B is the upper limit given in the definition of the individual monograph minus 100%. N is number of replicate injections or different solutions, and T90 n-1 degrees of freedom is the student's T at the 90% probability level, double-sided with n-1 degrees of freedom. Unless otherwise prescribed, the maximum permitted relative standard deviation does not exceed the appropriate value given in the table of repeatability requirements. B is the upper limit of specification for SA minus 100. For example, if the upper limit of SA is 102%, B would be 102 minus 100, that is 2. If the upper limit is more than 103, say for example, if the SA upper limit is 105%, you have to calculate the percent RSD using the formula given in the student's t-test. Up to 103%, the values are given in the table. You can use these data, but try to calculate as per the formula for experience and knowledge. This requirement does not apply to tests for related substances. USP 621 says that this does not apply for related substances test. Let us see the table of repeatability. This table gives the maximum percent RSD for various B values. Replicate injections are between 3 and 6 as prescribed in the table. Depending upon the number of injections, the percent RSD is prescribed. This information from USP 621 must be understood well. Data from these tools should be captured for meaningful statistical evaluation. So in this table, if the B percentage is 2 and number of individual injections is 3, the maximum permitted RSD is 0.41. Similarly, on the upper side, if the B percent is 3 and the number of injections is 6, the maximum permitted RSD will be 1.27. Let us see how the analytical method validation summary is captured. After executing the validation as per protocol, a summary report with the details of objective of the report in detail should be given. After detailed evaluation, it is time now for summarization of the data. Objective of the validation exercise must be clear. It should focus on the intent of validation. For example, is the validation for validation batches of the process or revalidation for any changes in the test methodology or changes in specifications or as a part of changes in the updated compendia or any other reason should be explained. So by reading the objective of the report, it should be crystal clear. This can be the part of the protocol also. If adequate details as described are given in the protocol, a brief reference may be made in the report. Detailed information of test method, specifications, System suitability requirements. Clear, intricate details of analytical method, standard, test preparations, dilutions, calculations, etc. should be provided. As same strategy, the same information could be provided in the protocol also. Raw data for each parameter of analytical method validation. This is very important for review and construction of data sequence, and to establish integrity of the data. This is necessary. Statistical evaluation of the data as described above. The key statistical data evaluation information should be the part of the report. A conclusion with a method suitability statement for routine use. Finally, a conclusion to establish the validated status of the analytical method should be given. A sign-off page for preparation, review and approval also should be the part of the report. Let us see what kind of supporting documents are required after executing the analytical method validation. Following supporting documents should also be annexed to make the validation report comprehensive. The document includes raw data sheets, chromatograms, spectra including system suitability chromatograms, graphs wherever generated, evaluated Excel sheets. The comprehensive report should have the following documents filed separately with a cross-reference in the executive summary report. Each supporting document should be indexed for easy retrieval. All chromatograms, spectra, graphs, evaluated Excel spreadsheets should be annexed to the report. I hope that the information on the statistical evaluation of this short video training program is useful. It is necessary to experiment several examples to get the perfect hold on the evaluation techniques. Also, it is very important to read the USP 621 chapter thoroughly to understand the evaluation requirements. You may also refer EP 2.2.29 and 2.2.46 chapters. Lots of useful information is available. Without such detailed knowledge, the analytical method validation looks like a complicated exercise. Thanks for watching. For more videos, please do subscribe, like and share. Thank you.